YouTubers, Mike Martin's here from Mike Martin's channel. Another rainy snow day here in Vancouver. Today is, let me check here. Today is the 26th. It's Boxing Day of December 2016. Thank you for joining me in Vancouver housing crisis. I will get back to trends in the housing market in another week or so. Gonna get some good international stories to let people know what's happening all over the world, how this housing topic has become the biggest topic of the world, what everyone talks about. Anywhere you go, anything in any language, they're talking about the price of houses. And why are the price of houses going up so much? And why are the prices of houses so out of control that any immigrant that immigrates now for a fresh start will be working for the rest of his life and paying rent and never having ownership? And students graduating from college already have the mortgage because they have student loans, but they don't have the house, but they got the mortgage. Anyways, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about my ranting here today. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read this article today because I spoke with some American people today in my store. And they are from San Francisco area. And they told me they went up to Whistler. And I'm like, cool. Whistler's a skiing resort north of Vancouver, maybe an hour away, an hour and 20 minutes away. They went to Whistler, and they went to enjoy some skiing up in the mountain. And they were shocked when they were there. They were talking to the locals. You know, it's a nice town to live. They're like, yeah, I sleep in my car. And I mean, I thought it was a joke. I'm like, dude, if you're working full time and you're serving whatever you're doing up there, carpentry, whatever, and you got to sleep in a car. We're living in bad times, man. These are things that people could never predict 30 years ago. 30 years ago, you tell someone, I know a guy that works 40, 50 hours a week, and he works 2 jobs on top of that, and he's got this, and he's got that, and he's got to still live out of his car. The guy will look at you like, you're nuts. Anyways, let's start. Shivering van dwellers, a sign of Whistler's housing crunch. It's by Chris Brown and Chris Crody, CBC News posted December 26, 2016 at noon. Whistler, BC workers Dan Davies and Andrew James have learned to bundle up tight every night before they tuck themselves in. This is probably the finest home on wheels you could ever have, said Davies, proudly showing off his pair's unheated 1970s van. It has folded down seats for a shared bed, rusted doors, and barely enough room to store their bags and ski gear. Davies is a 24-year-old carpenter from Wales, arrived with his friend at the beginning of December, hoping to find work in the resort community. Getting the job wasn't a problem. Finding a place to live was. Whistler is booming and housing is in short supply. With the nighttime temperatures dipping below 15 below zero in Whistler, staying warm is a challenge. We turn on the car for 20-25 minutes and then jump under the covers and go to sleep, said James. The pair bought a gym membership and use the showers and toilets there. This is pretty bad, guys. Few options. It's not ideal, but with the housing crisis we have here, we just deal with whatever we got, said Davies. They say that they are constantly coming across other workers camping in park lots because they've been unable to find other place to live. There's a girl who works at the supermarket and she lives in a van by herself, said James. Rental sites such as Craigslist show how accommodation and community is almost impossible to find. One recent ad for the top bunk of a bunk bed in an apartment shared by 4 people was listed for $1,000 for a top bunk for you to sleep. $1,000. And if you're watching this in Mexico, that's 13,000 pesos. Another for a condo in Creekside area was $2,300 for one bedroom. $2,300 for one bedroom, that's $1,630 US. Okay, for a 1 bedroom. So people watching in the States, listen up, because this is coming to a town near you. Seasonal squeeze. Whistler in the midst of the biggest boom in history, even larger than the 2010 Olympics. Let me change channels here. Demand is being fueled by low Canadian dollar and great skiing and boarding conditions. Snowboarding. Oh, it doesn't say boarding. It says boarding conditions. Good. Nestled in the mountains with the community plan that limits new development. An already tight housing market has become even tighter. We have added 1,500 new jobs in 2 years, the community of 10,000 people. It's a huge number, said Jack Cormpton, deputy mayor of Whistler. It's a very real challenge. Business that can't provide housing for their staff end up being able aren't being able to hire, he said. Reserve empty nester. Gail Mansell of Whistler House cleaner, whose apartment's lease ran out in October. She was so desperate to find another place. Her daughter, who also lives in Whistler, took to social media to plead to people for help. But she still doesn't have a place of her own. I'm sharing a bed with my daughter. It's a king size, thank goodness. Lohid Mansell and she scrolled through the Whistler's limited Craigslist housing ads on a laptop. You don't ever expect to be moving back in with your daughter. You don't ever that's pretty big here. It can't be it can't be a long-term solution as the landlord won't allow it. But she can't find anything within her $15,000 a month budget. So this housing crunch is getting to little itty bitty towns out in nowhere. People are begging almost the carpet, the floor. I don't want to get to the point, she said. Homes for workers. Whistler recently formed a mayor's task force of resident housing to explore short-term and long-term solutions. One of the first initiatives launched just before Christmas is to pair up homeowners who have space and spare space within their homes, within their business, that need rooms for their workers. So far, 9 businesses with a total of 60 employees have signed up, and 3 homeowners have expressed interest in taking people in. We're asking that they have vacant space, whether it's a room in their own house or an empty suite, to consider renting it, said Mara Jout with the Whistler Housing Authority. The municipality is also building 100 new rental apartments, largely funded by the province at a site near the 2010 Winter Olympics Athletes Village. They should be finished by the end of summer. Well, that'd be good. Lots of parties at that place. Holy smokes. However, with 650 people already on the wait list, it could take more than 2 years to get one of the coveted apartments. And this is the best point of this article. Airbnb problem. Remember I mentioned this a few times? Whistler's accommodation crunch is hardly unique for resort communities that deal with seasonal workers arriving every year. But of late, municipal officials say that the problem has been exacerbated because homes that would normally be used for long-term living are being rented out to tourists instead. Airbnb. Whistler's bylaws permit nightly rentals in and out around the village center, where prohibits them in most of their subdivisions to try to preserve homes for people working there. But many homeowners have turned to the site such as VRBO and Airbnb and using their properties for tourist rentals anyway. Our goal is to restrict the rentals to the core of the village where it is meant to be, said Crompton, the deputy mayor, adding the crackdown of the illegal renters is also part of the municipality housing strategy. So it's getting tough, guys. It's getting tough. Parking lot policing. Parking lot policing. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just out of it today. I'll leave a link below in case you can't understand me. The village isn't fond of people camping out in the parking lots either. People discovered living in vans, campers get ticketed, or worse, we could even be towed away, said Davies. But we're not too worried. If we get towed away, we're in the van. The allure of winter in Whistler, though, is strong for those for fun. Parties, arguably the best ski lifestyle anywhere in the world. It has been a dream of mine to come here for the last few years, said Davies. So there's no chance I'm leaving. I'll stay in this van the whole winter. Well, good for him that he's got a strong will and he wants to you know, work his buttocks off. But that's okay. Good for him. But all I'm saying is, why is it getting so bad? They could easily create jobs by creating more housing in that area, expanding their borders, expanding the municipality, and allowing people to be able to live. Well, what do you guys think? I mean, people 30 years ago, okay? 30 years ago, I was 6. I was 8. I was 8 30 years ago. And when I was 8 years old and someone told me that you're going to work 2 jobs, your wife's going to work, everyone you know is going to work, but they can never afford to buy anything because it's going to be so expensive, you laugh at them and say, you got to be out of your mind. Things will get easier and better. Not easier as the fact that you don't have to work, but things will get a lot more easier and technology would advance. Yes, technology advanced in a way where it's separating everybody, where people aren't together anymore. You think we're closer, but we're not. I don't know what's happening, guys. This is another story I wanted to share with you guys. I'll leave a link below. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's filthy. I think it's disgusting that this is happening, especially to hard-working Canadians or hard-working tourists. Let me know what you guys think. Comment below.